Speaking of the broader market, Jim, you did say on Monday that you didn't trust the bounce, and that was a pretty good tip.
Yeah, I think that today is much more of a realistic view because we actually have some earnings. Obviously, I think Salesforce is a big focus because I spoke to Marc Benioff last night and Bret Taylor, the new co-CEOs, and then I spoke to them again, and then finally again. And I am convinced that the so-called downbeat forecast is not worth a bucket of spit. That was what the vice president was worth a few years ago, actually about 60 years ago, 70 years ago. So I am, those who are saying, you know what, I'm going to sell Salesforce because the forecast is not that bullish. I think you should look at the previous forecast, which was so wrong. And it's almost like a Netflix situation where the forecast is, well, let's just put our fingers in the air. And there was a currency issue and there was a growing pains issue with MuleSoft, which did throw me. But Slack is awesome. And the Slack buy may prove to be unbelievable. There's some people I've been dealing with who say, listen, all of Benioff's growth is to buy a company. Well, you know what? He would say? My growth is both organic and inorganic, meaning to buy, because that's how you have to stay ahead of the posse. The numbers were extraordinary there. They're still growing at north of 20% for a gigantic company. So my advice to people is that if you really don't trust Mark here after the stock where I recommended at 8, and think that Mark has, frankly, lost his touch because he has Bret Taylor in. Yep. Oh, please. And Bret, by the way, is a killer. He's a killer.
Yes.
The other day he killed Dorsey. He's a twice killer. Imagine a guy, what a week he's had. He becomes the chairman of Twitter and then the co-CEO. I mean, fortunately, there's like 7 Bret Taylors, I guess. He is so mild-mannered, but that is all velvet. That's a velvet fist there with that guy.
They're obviously pretty tight, judging from their Twitter back and forth. Yeah. But Salesforce is going to take a bit off of the Dow, even with futures strong. Here's what Taylor and Benioff did tell Jim last night.
$26.4 billion for this fiscal year that we're finishing, fiscal year 22. And Jim, we gave guidance that for next year we're exiting the 20 billions and we're going to 31.8 billion. So we only spent 2 years in the 20 billion. So this is a very fast-growing business.
You think this can give co-CEOs a good name, that working relationship?
Well, they had one previously there, Keith Block, and it didn't work. As much as I love Keith, Keith was from Oracle, came in. I thought he was sensational. I still think, of course, he's sensational. He's a great guy. It's basically, he's a Patriot fan. That's a big mistake, although they may go far. I do think that Mark had in his book a very definitive reason why he wanted to have a co-CEO. He likes to take some time off to recharge. And you need a co-CEO to do that. He's also an inside guy. Bret closes. Let's put it this way. Mark opens, Bret closes. And I think that's a fabulous co-CEO role. Remember, Bret's from Google and Facebook. Those are pretty heavyweight pedigrees.
Yeah.